This is our town.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Valleytown episode 196. I'm ChanmanV, and today I've got the lovely Alliestraza and the very green Falcone over there. What's up, Dan?
Very green.
Very green. You just saw Spider-Man, right? Like we were like maybe gonna do this later, but then he ended up.
No, I managed to rearrange. It was a flexible ticket, and there was an earlier showing, and yeah, it was okay.
Just okay. That's it.
Just okay. People had overhyped it for me a little bit, I think.
Yeah, and is that the direction of Marvel now? It's like everything is like downhill. Like
I don't know. Like the Avengers was awesome. I still love it.
I thought Infinity War was insane.
Yeah, definitely. Did you see the new trailer for the?
I did.
Yeah, super hype, man. Definitely. But this isn't a movie podcast. This is a Hearthstone podcast.
So let's talk about Hearthstone.
One of those. I used to have a movie podcast, but we don't.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was so fun, but we just couldn't figure out how to where to do it, and like on Twitch where to even put it. So we ended up kind of like shelving it for a bit. But yeah, that used to be fun. I used to do it with Elohim and Diction, which was really cool. But yeah, anyways, Hearthstone. It's it's time to talk about some more decks this week. I mean, that's pretty much what we're gonna do. We're just gonna focus on all the cool decks because there are so many of them that why not? Just kind of go through all of them. Some of them we've played, some of them we haven't. We've definitely played against, but most of them I'm sure we've gotten to experience a little bit. But this week, why don't we just start off like overall? You guys haven't been on the show for at least during the expansion. What's your first take on the expansion, Allie?
I think it's really good. I think it's been fun, and I think right now currently we're still able to play a lot of different types of decks. I'm hoping that the meta doesn't settle too much where we get into this kind of stale rotation of 4 or 5 decks. But right now it's good. So my initial thoughts are very positive.
Yay, that's good. It's already better than Boomsday.
I was going to say that. I don't know if I should say that.
Right. I think at Boomsday, like this show a week later, or just over a week later, we were like, I don't know, guys. Like, are we playing anything other than giggling here? That's about all we're playing.
Basically.
Yeah. Dan, what about you? What do you think, man?
So I find it very difficult to judge early on because as soon as an expansion comes out, I feel a bit like a kid in a candy shop.
Right.
I want to try everything. So I did enjoy the first few weeks of Boomsday until it sort of regressed into the Witchwood meta, which was a good meta. It just went on for a long time.
Yeah.
However, it seems good so far. Like lots of people are playing lots of different things. There's a lot of archetypes seemingly yet to be explored. There's still new emerging things coming out and being very powerful. So yeah, I'm excited still.
Well, it's definitely streamer friendly. Let's put it that way, because we've got Toast, and I feel like it's Toast and Crip and whoever just constantly doing broken things.
That Shaman.
Try to break the game.
Armor Shadowwork Shaman. It's just
right.
I don't want to play against that.
Right? I don't want to play it. I don't want to play against it. I don't want to play it. That's just, it was good for the YouTube content, but in actuality, oh man, I don't want to play that.
So you're playing like several hour-long games. It's ridiculous.
I played against one of them. I let it go I let it go for about 10 minutes, and I stopped. I had to just give in.
Why?
It's like I'm not going to sit here for an hour or 2 hours.
Just don't make me cast in a tournament game with that deck. Just don't.
There's no way. I mean, it's not good. You know what I mean? So it thankfully, God, if it was good, the potential of that happening would be so horrible, because one person will do it, right? One person will bring it on purpose and do that. So that would be really terrible. But yeah,
so like Whizbang, where they just ban the archetype. Sorry, due to production reasons, we have to ban this deck. You can't.
They never did it with Dead Man's Hand. Maybe finally they'll find a reason to do that.
Yeah. So do you think they'll? I mean, because it's getting such publicity, do you think they'll just speed up the animations for it? Like make it go way faster for whatever reason?
Honestly, I don't think they'll do anything about it. I think people will lose interest in it pretty soon here. Like it was memey and fun for, the first week or so, but I don't think people are gonna.
I don't even think that would help speeding up the animations. I mean, because even if it's like 3 times faster or something, those turns are still going to go on for 5 minutes each.
That's probably true.
Unless they just make it so that when you run out of time, Shadow Walk just stops.
Yeah, and you guys are probably wondering what we're talking about. We're talking about this deck that Toast put together here, which I haven't played yet. I actually don't even have the Ice Cream Peddler, believe it or not. But the whole thing about it is that the Ice Cream Peddler, gives you 8 armor, right? If something's frozen, and then you freeze it, and then you do all these battle cries that you normally do, and Peddler's a battle cry that they're frozen, and then the Shadow Walk, because of Undertaker as well, like it's just like it's just never ending. It literally just keeps going.
They all give you 3 armor.
Yeah, exactly.
Beetle and Shadow Walk copies them.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just
Resident
continues.
sleeper.
Exactly. But at some point the client gives out. The client just stops at one point. So I mean, it doesn't go on forever. It's
like a 45 turn timer or something.
Something like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the saying "breaks the game" is actually real in this particular.
Well, it doesn't break the game. So the game protects itself from breaking. At least
Okay.
Well, the crazy thing is the rulings.
Yeah.
If this ended up being a competitive thing, the ruling competitive Hearthstone, if a game reaches the turn timer, is that the player with the most total health, including armor, wins the game.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow. Actually, really?
Wow.
Please don't play this in tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you would totally win. It's an auto win.
So like against Kingsbane, for example, where it is just a stalemate, this deck wins according to competitive rulings. Doesn't work on the ladder, but scary thought.
I did not know that was the official ruling. Wow.
Yeah.
Knowledge bomb. Thanks, Dan.
The game thing ever since Dead Man's Hand mirrors became a possibility.
Yeah.
Because like those games essentially just never would have ended either.
Right.
Dumbest Maximus in the chat saying, "Cool, bro. I just play my 4 horsemen. You die."
It's like, that's my favorite deck.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna talk about that one in a second. Toast did play another deck. Oh, I forgot to actually grab this for the show, but he played another deck that actually broke the game. It was like on Reddit yesterday. It creates like too many Undertakers. And it overloads the game, and it kicked him out. And I had to go find it. I think it's a druid. I think it might have been a druid. Is it a druid or a priest? Okay, I was meaning to get that. I forgot to get that, but that's pretty much what Toast has been doing. He's been trying to break the game,
break Hearthstone.
As he always does. Yeah,
exactly.
He just wants to go back to Blizzard jail.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. But in the meantime, it's pretty good content. It's definitely entertaining to watch. And to be honest, it's a different way to play Hearthstone. I think it encourages people to look at Hearthstone in a different way too, which is like you can just do these silly things and fun mimi things, and Hearthstone has that ability to do it where some of the other games aren't meant to be played like that. Some of the other games are just so serious. So I think that's, in a weird way, it's good for Hearthstone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of Hearthstone's charm, right?
Yeah.
It can be wacky and crazy, and that's why a lot of people love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, outside of that, I mean, I don't think there hasn't been too much going on. Not many events. I know some events are coming up. There's one in China that's coming up, and Dan,
I'm actually doing the English broadcast for that.
Awesome.
Germany. So we're not actually going to China, but they're hosting it in Germany. So my partner Derek and I are going to go and do that.
Yeah, in China, they're doing some good stuff over there, man. With all the events and all the prize pool. It's like crazy how much money China gives, or all the different Chinese event organizers give out over there. So really great for the players. It's cool when you get invited. But I'm excited to see like what people actually end up playing during this thing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I think there's another event too, right?
Philly, HCT Philly is happening this weekend
Philly.
as well.
Yep. So that should be good. So people can still get some points. Any folks that still need points for a world championship, and they can still do that. But
there's also in 2 weeks time the WSOE women's tournament. There's actually going to be a big tournament. Hafu, Eloise, me, a lot of big names. Patra.
I think Cora is. Yeah, Cora's been prepping for it too. Yeah. I think
Cora's prepping for it too. Awesome. Yeah. So that's going to be pretty cool to see. I think it's the 20th and 21st, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's 2 weeks. So
that's very exciting.
Is it? I mean, where is it at again? Is it online?
It's here in LA.
Oh, it's in LA.
No,
Okay.
it's in person.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah, dude, I'm
cool
all
to
for
see.
that, man. That's cool. I mean, I feel like we could have done this a long time ago. You know, like really push
Definitely.
more female Hearthstone players. We need more. We always need more. So
Well, WSG has
Absolutely.
been doing a pretty good job of it over the last couple of years, but it's good to
Yeah,
see
that's true.
them picking that up.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we get into talking about some deck? Oh, go ahead.
Wait,
Yeah.
one more
Is there
thing I want
one more
to
event?
put for the week in Hearthstone. Tomorrow, the Rumble Run does come out. The single player content.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yes.
Yes,
Good point.
and I will be going down to Blizzard tomorrow to do the stream.
Nice.
So I just wanted to throw it in before we.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
that'll
do you
be
know who you're
cool.
going to be doing it with?
Dave Kosak and Chris Sierra.
Oh
so
my God. Okay. Oh, both of those guys. That's gonna be-
That's
Yeah.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's gonna be great. I'm excited to see it. Like, is it supposed to be like all like the dungeon runs and stuff like that? I forget.
I played a very little amount at BlizzCon because they had it. You were able
Yeah.
to demo the Rumble Run, and
Yeah.
it was pretty similar to dungeon runs. I believe.
Yeah.
And other
Well,
ones.
Yeah, I'm kind of remembering them like debuting it, right, or at least like explaining it, right, at BlizzCon, and it's similar, but there's definitely a nuance to it that's very specific.
Yeah, there's a nuance to it, but I
Yeah.
can't really remember. And you only get to preview the very basic stage, so
Mhm.
you don't really get to see too much.
Well, I'm excited about that. Definitely that the whole rogue element to it, like that rogue type of single player thing, is the best thing that's happened.
The
to
single
Hearthstone.
player stuff generally over the last year, 2 years maybe, has just been really, really good.
It's been really good.
I've got a lot of real life friends that sort of dropped out of playing Hearthstone a few years ago because they didn't want to keep up with the collection or whatever. But they always come back and play the latest single player thing whenever one comes out. It definitely appeals to a lot of people.
God, they should just make it permanent. Like they just make a rogue like some kind of rogue format permanent, and you would have these people there, especially casual players. Casual players would be all over that all day long, playing that.
But people
so.
love Puzzle Labs as well and just everything they released.
Puzzle Labs is just like once you figure it out, though, it's done. You know, like
Sure.
and it's not really replayable that much. But with Rogue, you can always just go back and do it, and it's something different every time. Okay, well, let's look at the decks. I think the way we're going to do it is we're going to just hop on HS Replay because HS Replay is so cool and great. But let's see. We're going to start off with some Paladin because Paladin's been a big topic of discussion just since the beginning of the expansion, just because everybody's talking about Shirvala and the potential for all these cool, crazy combos with Paladin. This is not a Paladin, though. Here we go. And so the first Paladin that I want to talk about is just like a very memey Paladin, but I think
sure.
the Holy Wrath Paladin, which a lot of people have been playing and experimenting with. People are wondering what it is. It's basically this very draw-based Paladin. Trying to get through your deck as far as you can. And what the gist of it is that you play Holy Wrath, which does damage that's equal to the mana cost of the card you draw next. And you draw Shirvala, so you end up doing 25 damage, right, with Holy Wrath. And the way you get to it is you draw through your entire deck and use Baleful Banker, and then you end up with 2 Shirvala, and then you end up Holy Wrathing, and one of them will be the Shirvala. But I've died to this so many times, so frustratingly, because I will be crushing them. And it's literally just a Hail Mary for them just to Holy Wrath. And they freaking get like a 1 in 16 or whatever on me. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this sucks.
And you thought Yogg was annoying.
I know, exactly. So have you guys played this or played against this?
I have not played this particular version, nor have I had it played against me.
Really? Okay.
I have a question, though. I mean, obviously 25 damage is a lot, but I would think that there's a fair amount of classes that kind of can be out of that range. So can you do it multiple times, like with double Baleful Bankers, and just keep shuffling Shirvala back? Because I would just think,
I believe you can do it twice.
You have 2 Holy Wraths. The Holy Wraths you can't copy, right? So you can do it twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's generally, I guess, enough to get people there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is just a meme deck, right? Like this
Right.
shouldn't be an actual competitive Hearthstone deck. But yeah, you let your deck completely run out. You play Shirvala, Baleful Banker, Holy Wrath all on the same turn, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
I played against it. I played against it once. It was the first day of the expansion. It was like my second or third game actually of this expansion. And honestly, I'd forgotten Holy Wrath existed. I was actually streaming and I was saying, I don't understand. He hasn't played Uther. What's his win?
Right.
He can't possibly beat me. He's out of cards almost. And then I just died. I'm like, well, that just happened.
It's fun. I mean, it's like a throwback, to be honest. It's like a throwback to the old Molten Giant, like Holy Wrath days.
Oh, yeah.
Which Crip used to play all the time, and it was funny watching him play this deck because he was just bringing back all these memories from years ago. But thank goodness this is not viable, because like I'm scared that this Holy Wrath Shrivala thing does become viable, because it's like a total coin flip. You always have a chance to beat like a hunter just with that, having Holy Wrath in your hand and Shrivala not being drawn yet.
Because you can just go, right, I've run out of...
it's like, I'm about to die, I'm just going to do it, right?
I've run out of timeouts, I die next turn, let's just play the card and hope for the best.
Yeah, and that would be that'd be a bad competitive environment to have that, the ability to get an out like that. Yeah, that'd be crazy. But anyways, fun deck though. You guys should try it again. Playing Hearthstone in a different way. It's definitely a lot of fun. Allie has the OTK DK Paladin that I think is one of your favorites, right?
Honestly, I think this is my favorite deck from the new set. It just feels great to play Control Paladin again, and it actually be relatively consistent. Like, I think the win rate from like 5 to Legend is like 52% or something across the board, which is solid. And yeah, it feels surprisingly consistent, especially if you're on the coin. It makes it easier to get the combo off. And yeah, I really, really love this deck a lot.
So
it's very good.
I've played a little bit of this, and again, in the first few days. I've not played it in the last 4 or 5 days, but I've heard there's a few different versions. So you're not running, is it Feckle in this list? Is that right?
People kept... Is that the 3-mana 3/4 that converts...
Yeah, swap out your health for armor. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, right.
People
right. Yeah.
brought that up to me, and I don't know. I guess I just feel like it's not that necessary for the strategy of the deck. Like, there's already a decent amount of heal and ways to survive I don't know what I would want to take out of this particular list to kind of make way for it, where I feel like it's a little unnecessary. But people have been, asking me what they thought of it. Yeah,
because I've heard people saying like that's the full heal package. You play Feckle on 3 and then heal up to 60 if you can. But then I've heard other people saying actually all this deck needs, the only new cards this deck needs is Timeout, and that you don't even need to run Shrivala in it. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting how different people are building it.
I think with the combination of the timeouts and the new 2-mana spell, what's it called? Flash of Light.
Flash of Light. Yeah.
Those are pretty clutch sometimes. And then Shrivala is just mega Ziliax, which is just insane sometimes. I really don't think it's necessary to play the 3/4. I like the card, but in this particular deck, I just don't see it being that useful.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's for those of you wondering what it is, it's for those of you who played old OTK Paladin, it's got a lot of the same pieces, with all the Brewmasters and Zol and Copiers and things like that. But the new cards that there are playing is what you mentioned was Flash of Light, as well as Timeout, which is like making your hero invulnerable or immune for the next turn, so it kind of buys you a couple turns because there's 2 of them in there. And then, see what else is actually the Shrivala.
I got to ask another question. Another question.
Go ahead.
Because I've noticed now there's youthful Brewmasters in this.
Yeah, this is not the right. Yeah, I don't think you run Brewmaster. Yeah. I think you. I don't think this one has the Pixie. What's it called? The
Black Pixie.
Yeah, you definitely want that in there. If you have the coin, it just builds the consistency of getting the combo off.
Pixie is refresh your hero power.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
The only problem with Pixie, from my perspective, is if you don't have the coin, you don't have the mana to do everything, right? Because it's 2 to play the hero power, 3 to play the Pixie, another 2 to hero power, and then another 4 to play the 2 guys from the hand.
Right.
And that's 11 mana. So I'm just very interested to see how this deck gets perfected and what it's going to look like when it starts entering tournaments.
The mirror is a bit like 50-50 because if the person who has the coin has the advantage, but you bounce 2 back, and then you basically just need to Zola the other one, and at that point you're just hoping that you get the right horseman. So it's not perfect, but it's still, I mean, with aggro sometimes you can just outlive, so it's possible to get the combo off in the end, but the shell of the deck I think is really strong.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Beyond that, so I think that's why it feels so good right now.
It's got Call to Arms in it too. Like, talk about Call to Arms a bit. Like, how's
it's just a strong card, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's
even a
good.
5 mana, it's like Spreading Plague. It got nerfed, but it's still probably too strong. The only reason it didn't see play for a long time is because obviously it was strongest in even Paladin, but in Odd Paladin it's just summon a bunch of 1-drops. But now there's a good Paladin deck that isn't even nor odd. It can summon 2-drops again, and that's good. 5 mana summon 3 2-drops from your deck is a good thing.
Sometimes it's really clutch because you'll have an equality in your hand, right? And you can guarantee pull out the pyro to get that board clear. So that's pretty clutch sometimes too.
But that was why I was asking about Youthful Brewmaster earlier, because I had this conversation with Sotor. He's been running 1 Brewmaster in his list, and he says on average it's a good thing because you either draw it and then that's fine, or you summon it from Call to Arms and it's a 3/2, and that's fine because you're probably getting 1 Loot Hoarder or something with that anyway.
Sure.
But Call to Arms, for anyone that doesn't know, does summon the Youthful Brewmaster, which means you can't use it for the combo, which is why that's a funny pick. Not necessarily wrong, but interesting.
1 is probably fine. Like it's probably not that big of a deal, but certainly not 2.
Yeah. Timeout is the nuts though, right?
Yeah,
like that
crazy good.
Was completely underrated.
Yeah, I think it's like the best card of Rosticon. I mean,
that
card.
So? Wow. That's a big statement.
That's a really big statement. Maybe I retracted, but it's one of the best. I mean, it's really, really good card.
Super important to this deck, and I think if this deck ends up being one of the powerful decks in the expansion, then for every reason to say that, right? So this deck definitely feels legit. Like I think we will see this deck in events as a great. So. Yeah, I mean, anything that can end the game, like has an actual win condition that doesn't have this infinite kind of feel to it, actually ends the game with a specific sequence of events, is going to be strong, I think, in today's Hearthstone.
Mechathune was quite strong.
Yep.
So it did see play in tournaments. The only thing I'd be asking is, is this deck good enough for people to stop bringing Odd Paladin and start bringing this instead? That's the only real point of contention.
Depends on your lineup, right? Like what you're going for, if you're going for a control. But the only thing I don't like about this deck, just in the competitive landscape, is truly the mirror, like coming down to just 50-50s. Like that never feels good for competing, right? Like, oh, well, my opponent won the 50-50, like GG. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But
so there's no way, like, even in the mirror, is there any way to tempo this out a little, or no? Like, there's just no way to just throw all these minions on the board and try to do as much damage as you can, or Linessa or something weird like that.
Oh, just tempo out with other
just
with
trying
other cards?
to kill. Yeah, probably not.
For the mirror specifically, the problem is this deck has so much healing. So so many board clears in the forms of double quality, double conk, and double pyromancer. So whoever tries to play their minions as tempo probably just gets wiped out and loses.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's kind of right. It's like old school freeze mage. I mean, it's kind of like that too, right? Like you just depends on what everybody draws sometimes. But you could do damage to each other in freeze mage though. Like you could actually have a scenario where you could maybe kill somebody relatively fast. I'm just trying to think of any other super control decks, mirror matchups that were maybe similar to this in the past.
Do you ever get Mechathune Druid mirrors or anything?
Oh god,
Top Druid mirrors.
I have to be honest. Like I don't remember ever seeing a Mechathune Druid mirror.
Neither do I.
I can't even recall one. Like, okay, well, anyways, really cool deck. Definitely a lot of fun to experience and play. So obviously it's interesting to play against too. Like sometimes I feel helpless playing against. It's like, dude, I'm playing a control deck. I know I'm gonna lose. Like I literally know I'm gonna lose. So I'm just doing these crazy desperate things sometimes.
You just gotta hope Uther is in their bottom 3 cards.
Exactly.
Because if it is, they're kind of screwed. So that's another thing that's like if your whole deck relies on the Death Knight, which that doesn't feel great either. So
Jaina Mage all over again. Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
It's so hard to cast Jaina Mage, like especially mirrors, because it's hard to say anything other than, well, whoever draws the hero
Right.
card first win.
Yeah. But enjoy these while we can, because DKs are going to be going away like next expansion. So
That's true.
gotta hop.
We'll still have 3 of them, right? We'll still have Zoljian, Hagatha, and
yeah,
Dr. Boo.
just not the DKs themselves though. Yeah. Okay, so next deck we got here. What do we have? Odd Mage. So Allie wanted to talk about Odd Mage here, which we've got this one. I don't know if this is the right one or. Maybe we can pick a different one.
This is similar to my deck,
Okay, let me pull
maybe
yours up.
slightly different. I don't even know if I linked it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think maybe you didn't, but maybe just talk about like the similar cards, and then we can kind of generally talk about others.
Yeah, I mean the shell of my Odd Mage deck is the Elemental package.
Okay, that's pretty.
I
different.
just
that's very different. Yeah.
Yeah, it honestly feels pretty good. Like the 5-mana 5/5, the Blaze Callers are insane. Like I think those are so clutch, because sometimes you like Zola. You have the Zola for your Jan'alai, but you can Zola back your Blaze Caller and just kill them sometimes.
Yep.
So I felt like the shell being the Elemental package worked out well.
So that's basically a completely different deck then, right? I haven't seen an Elemental Mage.
You know what?
Does it have Bonfire too? Does it have Bonfire and that kind of stuff too? Or no?
Yeah, the 5-mana 5/5. Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
Yeah, just link it to me. I'll pull it up.
Because Odd Mage in this form is much more similar to just old Jaina Mage. It's just like you're on.
Yeah, it's Jaina Mage, it's Jan'alai, and
you're on Jan'alai instead of like Sindragosa or instead of Alana or whatever,
Yeah.
and basically
Here.
the way.
I'm getting it pulled up here, Chairman. I'll Skype it to you. Here we go.
So how has Rag performed for everybody? It is.
Oh, I mean, it's super fun to have him back. And I crafted a golden Jan'alai, so I've got my golden Rag.
I got Jan'alai as my free legend,
nice.
which is
Very
pretty
nice.
nice too. But okay, so here it is. Here's Allie's deck. And we got Nightmare Amalgams in here. All right.
Oh, this is very nice. I want to try this.
Cool.
Yeah. It was sort of similar to maybe one of Kibler's decks a while ago. It's kind of a similar shell, but yeah, I mean, honestly, the Odd feels good. I mean, it's basically just another deck with Jaina, and Jaina's so strong. But yeah, I think it's pretty good.
How is Blast Wave performing?
Yeah.
Well, right before I left my stream to come here, I was final boss for Legend, and I played against 3 Odd Paladins, and I didn't draw Blast Wave a single
that's like
time.
Perfect, right? Like, wow.
Well, that's not the card's
That
fault.
sucks.
It's not the card's fault. If I had drawn it one of those 3 games, maybe it would have been good. No, honestly, I think it's fine. Like, of course, 5 mana is kind of expensive for what it's doing, but it works well with Fury, so you can still run 6 spells, and with Black Cat, you can buff up the spell damage. I really haven't been unimpressed by it. I don't think it's insane, but I think it works well in this build of the deck because of the Fury.
I'm staring at this deck and I'm thinking, I really want to run Book of Spectres in it, but then I really don't want the discard
Book it
a Flame Strike or Dragon's Fury. Thing is, there's only 6 spells. A mage with only 6 spells, like Book of Spectres, should be insane, right?
Okay, sure, but it depends on what you get, though, right? Like it's.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't draw one of your 6 spells, then it's amazing. If you do draw one of your 6 spells, it's probably still okay. If you draw 2, then it's a disaster.
Yeah.
With the Fury, it just would feel too bad.
Right.
But I understand where you're coming from. I mean, with Book of Spectres, Mountain Giant is really good sometimes too, if you can get that 2 mana. But it just didn't work well enough in this one.
Then this deck's probably value orientated enough where you just don't need the card draw.
Right.
And Black Cat's good anyway for that.
Exactly.
Honestly, the hero power is just good at controlling the board too. I mean, the 2 damage targetable is pretty decent. So.
Yeah, the Pyromaniac is pretty cool.
The first deck I tried when the expansion came out was, and I just threw this together. It's a terrible deck. I even named it Bad Mage at the time because I knew it was bad. It was not an Odd Mage, but it used the package. So it used the 1 mana buff your hero power card, and it used the Spirit. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
reason.
Okay.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
This sounds like the debut stream. Like all
yeah,
over
pretty
again.
pretty much like
All the
that. And
craziness.
when it worked, it was insane. Like
Yeah.
I got certain games where I had Pyromaniac on the board, and I had the Spirit stuck to the board, and Ragnaros is everywhere, and it was awesome. But still,
So-
wouldn't call it a good deck.
I mean, this
Yeah.
deck looks like it just farms Odd Paladin. Like, is that pretty much
Yeah,
what it does?
you would think
I mean,
so, but no.
No, it doesn't. It's got
Well-
like 8
well,
ways to
look,
remove stuff. It's crazy.
my 3 stars that I just lost, I didn't draw Blast Wave a single time. So
But you
it's
still have Flame Strike, and you still have Baron, and you still have Dragon's Fury. It's
Odd Paladins it can just refill. Like, sure, you use your Flame Strike and your Fury, the 2 AoEs that you have in your hand, and then it's just incredibly easy for them to just make another board that's just as threatening, you know? So it's tough.
So-
Oh, by the way, chat pointed this out. Book of Specters is definitely 2 mana. So that's bad on all of us for actually not mentioning that. Looking at the shell of the deck, I understand, but yeah, you could put it in odd.
I mean, I was also sitting here thinking, why isn't Blizzard in there? So yeah, clearly I totally forgotten the fact that this is an odd deck temporarily there. Sorry, guys.
I would love if I could run Blizzard and Meteor and Polymorph in this deck.
That would be insane. Literally insane. Okay, well,
This does look better to me than like the more standard odd mage that I've been seeing on the ladder, and I've been hearing pretty bad things about standard odd mage from players like RDU. I was watching RDU stream yesterday, and people were asking him, "Why don't you try odd mage?" And he was saying, "I don't think odd mage is very good." But this is quite different, and I really like the look of it.
Honestly, though, like it's a fine deck, but RDU's probably right. I mean, I like my build. I'm seeing success with it, but at the end of the day, it's bottom of tier 2, tier 3 deck. You know, it's a fun mage deck, but it's certainly not top tier. So I can understand why you said that.
the added damage is nice on the hero power, but I still don't think it's. I mean, I'd rather just build whatever mage. You know what I mean? Like, just not have the restriction of the odd. And
Yeah.
I really want the Spirit to be good because it feels insane.
Yeah, I don't know about the Spirit.
I mean, you know, it's good against odd palette. I mean, it's good against those type of decks, but it's terrible otherwise, right? So
Yeah.
But cool deck though. You know, I think again, like those type of spirits and stuff that lead to these super different types of decks, I think is still fun and cool, and they'll never be better, but at least we have different ways of doing it, right? And
Yeah.
might make for some interesting events.
The 5-mana dragon literally hard counters on Paladin. I'm surprised we're not seeing that in more decks at the moment. The Dragon Maw Scorcher.
Oh
Dragon.
yeah, the
Wait,
3/6.
Yeah,
Oh
like
gosh, that card that does 1 damage across. Oh my god, that card is so good.
right. It just
I
hard
can't-
counters on Paladin.
Yeah, like I undervalue.
I think that's
that
why it was
card.
printed, probably.
Yeah, it was totally right.
Even the fact that it's a 3/6, which means if they've been leveled up, it still trades with 2 of them.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
I didn't give that card enough credit. Like, I thought it was good, but I thought the 3/6 stats on a 5 was a little bit meh. But honestly, it works really well. So
Yeah, definitely
good
super
card.
good. All right, guys. Well, take a super quick break here and just let you guys know that we are sponsored by Mint Mobile today. If you guys aren't familiar with Mint Mobile and you're looking to pay only $20 a month for your mobile service, then Mint Mobile is the place to go because they have this awesome holiday deal right now. The first 3 months you sign up, if you use mintmobile.com/value, you'll be able to participate in this. And Mint Mobile is one of those services where you don't actually have to go anywhere to set up your phone. You know, you can actually go on their website, sign up. It's got these awesome instructions on how to transfer like your existing phone number and your service over to Mint Mobile. They're using, you know, the fastest networks, LTE networks right now in the nation, and they send you their SIM card. So you just pop it in your phone and boom, you're like ready to go. So the 7-day money back guarantee, 100, you know, if you're not 100% satisfied. And yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get any cheaper than $20 for 3
$20.
months. I mean, that's
Oof.
like ridiculous, right?
Pretty
so
good.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, so anyways, try that out again. It's mintmobile.com/value, and let them know you appreciate sponsoring the show because they are awesome because of that. All right, so let's go on to the next deck, which we have Zulok. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of Zulok on the ladder, just at least where I've been playing. I've been kind of inching my way into, you know, I've been in that kind of like rank just right below rank 5, just so I can like play all the fun decks without getting crushed. And then you know, like
Who's
the
playing this?
second half of the
not
month, I'll actually get try hard and get the legend. But
Rank 5's the best place to meme, though.
I know, but there is a difference, though. There really is a difference between just rank 5 and above, even rank 5. You know, than the rest of the stuff. So I kind of like to see what's going on in beginning expansions around there. But anyways, this is the zoo lock that's going on. I mean, I think the standard zoo is still really, really good. And I mean, this is pretty standard, actually. This is from the last one, except for another Soul Infusion. And
this doesn't have a single new card.
Yeah, this doesn't have a single new card in it. Yeah, so right now zoo is like basically pretty similar. We're seeing that with some of the other ones too. There's a zoo lock that I've been trying to find that has the Soul Warden in it too. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, basically Soul Warden for just the Soul Fire. Here, let me find it. I'm trying to I'll bring it up, but it has the Soul Warden, so you can get another Soul Fire, or hell, maybe another I mean just anything, right? You discard from Doomguard or whatever. So I thought that was an interesting build. It's not performing as well as just straight up Zoo. So, you guys seen any kind of variations to Zoo that's been interesting?
To be honest, I haven't really run into much Zoo.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. Yeah, I'm not
Cleared that range, I think.
I haven't either, to be honest. No, I mean more Odd Paladin than Zoo, but honestly, I've not seen much Odd Paladin either. It's been a very refreshing ladder recently.
refreshing.
Nice. Refreshing.
I was just trying to find a list that I was sent last week, but then realized you probably talked about it with Ike. He's been playing the Discard Warlock with the quest.
Yeah. We definitely talked about that. I played a lot of that too. That was a super fun deck.
That's an exciting deck.
Yeah, but
it
quickly became bad.
Yeah.
Quickly became bad.
I've wanted Quest Warlock to be good for such a long time, mainly because I pulled the quest in gold, and so I've been wanting to play it ever since it came out. But it's so cool. It's such a cool card.
It's amazing that getting 2/3/2s every single turn is still not good enough to beat.
It's just not good enough.
It's like, how is that possible? But I mean, it is possible.
You're also giving up a space on the board, right? That's part of the quest reward as well.
Yes. I mean, I don't feel like that's like as big of an issue as just. I think the win condition for that deck just really isn't there. It's just like outlast your opponent, you know. And so,
it's just the combination of the 3/2s not being powerful enough, and the way that you're summoning the 3/2s is discarding cards, which is traditionally not very good either. So it's just like the entire package.
But they've made it a lot better, though.
They have, but it's still not good.
The new discard cards are actually very cool.
Yeah,
they're cool, but they're just not.
Like it was mind blowing to me when I realized that the what's it called? The new 4-mana Warlock Legendary.
Jeklik.
Yeah,
Jeklik. He's like crazy. Yeah, Jeklik is amazing.
It's insane to me when I found out if you buff it and then discard it, like the copies
buffed,
also buffed.
Yeah,
you can just end up with a handful of like 10 12s or something.
Yeah, it's it's pretty amazing that way.
It's fun. It's definitely fun. It's
cool.
Cool.
I think they need a card that is kind of like Jeklik or Clutch Mother, but have charge or rush or something like that. Because
like one broken card or something, and then it might be that.
Again, like the only way you do it is like you get a bunch of Jekliks and then you just heal and you lifesteal and you just try to outlast your opponent, and that doesn't work when you have like the Paladin you talked about, or any of these like combo-y decks. That's just too slow.
You said the C word, Chanman. Charge. We haven't had a charge card in a long time.
But it needs it.
It's a no word.
Look at Stone to Sport. Charge is powerful, okay?
Yeah, obviously. No,
honestly, has Blizzard printed anything with charge in the last like 3-4 expansions?
They isn't there one of the bots charge? I think there's like one of the bots had some kind of charge on it.
I'm almost certain they're all just rush.
Was it all rush?
I think they're all rush. I think Blizzard's just like, no, we do not want to open up any more charge.
Yeah.
Options.
It makes sense.
We definitely didn't get a charge minion in Boomsday. I've got the client open right now. I'm curious. I'm gonna check.
If
Uh,
even if a
nothing
Jeklik had
we had Ghostly Charger in Witchwood, and that's Rush. Oh my god,
I wouldn't.
Ghostly Charger has Rush.
That's funny.
It's counterintuitive.
So nothing in Witchwood either. Nothing in Kobolds.
Okay, I mean, even if Jeklik had Rush, I think that would be a huge improvement to it.
She'll play champion as the last charge menu we had, and that was Knights of the Frozen Throne.
Oh my god!
See,
wow.
I'm telling you, they're like,
Okay,
nope,
never
Rush
mind.
is. They only want Rush now.
That's crazy. No, that's nuts. Oh, so I did find a zoo deck here that has Grim Rally, and Grim Rally is something that I wanted to kind of bring up.
Oh
too.
yeah,
This card's actually pretty good. In a deck like this, I'm actually surprised this isn't part of just straight out zoo, like the best zoo. But
Maybe it will be. Like
that?
these things take some fine tuning, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
during an expansion cycle, decks get changed pretty significantly.
True.
And new archetypes form. I mean, look at Evolved Shaman. That didn't appear until right at the end of the Ungoro.
Dude,
meta.
I was playing Involved Shaman for a long time. Maybe even Allie was here, like back when I was
I
playing
actually
Evolved
do
Shaman.
remember.
Dude.
You were an Evolve OG. I
right.
do have memories of you like talking about it. Well,
There we go.
when what was the card that summoned tutus?
Doppelgangster.
Doppelgangster. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what made it.
And you add Satellite Chain Gang to the mix.
I
and
know,
wow.
it's like just sick, disgusting. Exactly. They made all these 1/1s that like Death Rattle 5/5s that were just amazing too. Okay, next deck we're going to talk about. Let's see. There's a Q Block, which Q Block. There's obviously the standard Q Block, which is performing super well right now. Like I'd highly recommend playing Q Block if you're trying to climb ladder. But
Yeah, I was just watching Ball Control at rank 10 Legend playing the deck just before we started here.
Yeah, but here's one with a few new cards. With Grim Rally and pretty much just Grim Rally, right? Oh, what's Seguin Reveler? That's not new, right? Seguin Reveler.
No,
that was from before.
Might have been from Witchwood.
Yeah,
Actually, might be from Knights of the Frozen Throne. Just kidding.
Yeah. So
this
one's not better. Definitely not better than the other one.
I think you'd probably just play standard Q Block if you're unless you want to have fun. If you want to have fun, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was standard Q Block from before this expansion that Boar was just playing, and he was testing decks for HCT Philly.
Yeah.
Hey, Ali, this will interest you. Thea is rank 5 Legend with OTK Paladin at the moment.
Oh, really?
Really?
Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, I honestly think it's great, guys. I think it's a good deck.
Oh, he actually is playing Feckle though, and Shrink Ray.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll have to check that out then, because I'm
He's playing Shrink
open
Ray,
to.
too? Wow. Okay.
We have no idea, like what. I still have no idea what the deck's gonna look like in a week. It could be drastically different. It's
very true.
crazy.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
That's why I love expansion season. Anyway, sorry for interrupting. Karen.
So I think you brought up a question like prior to the show, Allie, like whether we think that this is still the honeymoon period versus
Yes.
have we gotten into the phase where we're cycling back to the old decks and realizing they're much better, and working back to that. And it sounds like people like Boar, playing like the just standard Q Block is kind of working towards that, right? We see it with Odd Paladin, obviously. But have we gotten to that stage yet? What do you guys think?
I think we might be starting to get into that stage. Like I still feel like we're in the honeymoon right now, where there's a lot of different stuff going on. But my guess would be not for that much longer. Truthfully,
Yeah.
Stuff is starting to get more refined, and I think we're going to see the meta kind of figure itself out here in the next week or so.
Players like Ball Controller in a very specific camp, right? Like he's preparing for a big tournament next weekend that he needs to win. He's trying to get his 3-star master. So he will be playing whatever he thinks is the best deck or whatever he thinks can make the best lineup. So that kind of play now is much past the point of being like, I want to play whatever's fun. Now he wants to win. So I think outside of that bubble, I think we're still in the honeymoon period.
I do too. I think so. I mean, one thing about having known decks too for like a tournament that's coming up is that you know how it performs, right? You know exactly what it does, and there's still a lot of unknown out here, I think, with a lot of the new cards. So in terms of the hardcore pros, maybe they're swinging back, but I think for the most part the community is still well into this like experimental mode and still trying stuff. But maybe like you said, Allie, a week later, I think we'll maybe look a lot different.
For me personally, like I'm climbing slow this month just because I don't know. I want to play new decks. I want to play with new cards. Like if I really, really wanted to game the odd paladins that I just ran into, sure, I could play even lock with no new cards. But
exactly.
I've done that so many times, so might as well have fun, experiment. New expansion season only comes once every 3 months. Enjoy this time while you can.
I'm completely with you there, yeah.
Dude,
right?
I think that's just a sentiment that we should adopt, period, as a community. Like the pro player is different, but everybody else, like, take your time, guys. Like, don't rush and net deck so much, and you know what I mean. Like,
I wish people would just try and make their own decks for it, even if it's just for the first day of the expansion. Like so many people just go online, look for whatever the best zoo deck is, and try and farm. And I don't know, it's much more fun to me to just try and build your own thing just once.
Right. Truthfully, I'm kind of hoping that we'll move into a period where people are going to do this more often because of the new system, right? Like ladder points aren't going to mean anything. Yeah. So why, I can't really see the incentive for people just spamming odd paladin and zoo over and over and over again when points don't really mean anything. Like, I guess if you want to hit legend for the first time and you want to play a solid deck, like that's totally okay. But I would venture to say that ladder might get a little bit more fun after these changes, and people will want to try out their own homebrewed decks in the future.
Yeah. What would be kind of neat is if they created quests, like the daily quests that had like very obscure cards. Like you have to win like 10 games with some crazy card, that nobody
play 3 silverback patriarchs.
Patriots. Maybe,
right.
Maybe
I think something like that.
Like weasels or something. Yeah, exactly.
I think we want the quest as easy as possible.
Okay, all right.
I think you have to find the good balance of it not being too much of a joke, though. Like that sounds more like a tavern brawl or something.
Well, the reason I brought that up is just because, if nobody's playing ladder to climb, then what are they playing it for? I
think that's a very good question, and we're gonna figure that out in the time to come, because truthfully, like, if you're not going for those points anymore, like, grinding ladder isn't always that fun when you're running into the same meta decks over and over again. So like I said, I'm hopeful that people will take this opportunity to have more fun, I suppose.
It can be, though. I mean, tens of thousands of people climb the ladder every single day who probably
of course.
I mean, I think
they don't even know they can get points from it.
That's true.
That's true.
I mean, Hearthstone without ladder at all would be, well, look at Artifacts. That's not done very well, has it?
Well, never mind.
You can talk about it.
I'm still very hopeful for that. I think it's a fantastic game. But
Artifact's a fun game to play. There's no question, but it's just not a good one to watch. That's just it.
But unless you know what's going on.
Right.
But if you do know what's going on, then it is good. But anyway.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about... I'm going to talk about this Miracle Priest I've been playing, just kind of switch it up a little bit. So, disclaimer, it's not good. Okay, but it's a lot of fun, though. It's definitely a lot of fun. And if you talk to Ike actually might say it's good, because he actually wins with his deck, and I still have not yet figured out how to win consistently with this deck. But it's essentially, a card drawing type of crazy mechanic for Priest with the Gadgetzan Auctioneer and Lyra. But the real goal is to get these Grave Horrors out, which are these big 7/8 taunts that get discounted from 12 every time you cast a spell during your game. And so by the time they come out, they're usually super cheap. And if you get it down, you Divine Spirit, and it hangs around, then you just Topsy-Turvy it or Interfire it and you win. That sort of approach. There's also questing adventure in these things too. So you can get some like sick questing adventures if you like build this baby up. My issue is like I just can't survive the early game. It's got Aconite Phantasm and the Circle Healing, just kind of like a cheaper Aconite Soul Priest type of thing. But I have a hard time living like beyond that in a lot of matchups. But it's fun.
Aconite Phantasm is. Hold on, let me look at this card.
It's like a Soul Priest. It's like a 2-mana Soul Priest. It's like a 2-mana 3/2 Soul Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cheaper.
Wow. Okay.
Sulfurs.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah. So
I missed the reveal of that one as well. Actually, I didn't find out about it until real late.
yeah, it's pretty good. You can regenerate and do like 6 damage plus your hero power to to face and things like that. So I think this deck's pretty. I mean, if you're super good at it, I think you can actually climb the ladder with this deck. But it's super hard to play. I think it's kind of like Topsy Turvy Priest, which
This kind of deck is very, very difficult. Possibly even more difficult than Topsy Turvy in certain ways because the resource management is harder. Like,
yeah,
Mhm.
it's not like a
Definitely.
direct goal. There's like different paths you can
Right.
take at every single turn. So
I've been playing something very similar. I can't remember whether I got it from RDU's stream or Hunter Ace's stream,
Mhm.
but like I've got the list up in front of me. It doesn't run the auctioneer. It runs like Banana Buffoon, which adds the banana to the hand.
really
And
awesome.
An
Okay.
unpowered Steambot. Like it's more similar to the older type
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Divine
yeah,
Spirit
yeah.
Amplifier deck. Runs 2 copies of Seance as well, which you can use on Grave Horror.
What do you guys
Uh,
think of Seance? Because this was something on Twitter where, like, Crip, I remember he posted that his top 5 cards, whatever video or whatever that was, and Seance was on there. And I remember, like, a lot of pros were just, like, digging into him because he thought Seance was one of the best cards. But when people play it against me, maybe it's because I always play big, these kind of big minions and slower decks. It sucks, man. I get screwed when they play Seance against me. So I was kind of curious what you guys think.
Honestly, I haven't really played much with the card yet, or
Yeah.
had it played against me, so I don't really have a good opinion. But I mean, it seems like it could be pretty good.
I've watched a bunch of people playing with it. It's just like a strictly better convert, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
convert
for
will
sure.
select an opponent's minion, and Seance will select a minion, which means you can grab your own, which is much better. I don't know, like people are playing it. It's very, very good with Grave Horror. It's pretty good with cards like Lyra as well.
Mhm.
Like an extra power turn, or to grab an extra rate. Like you can play Radiant, Seance, and then play the other Radiant for a big Lyra turn as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
that's
definitely
interesting.
some janky stuff you can do with it.
Yeah. Oh, raid from Celissa. Thanks, Celissa. You're awesome.
Thanks,
This,
Lisa.
this also reminds me, Zetalot has been playing. Zetalot just plays
Priestmaster. Yeah.
finding out things. He's
Priest.
been playing an OTK priest with the spirit. So he plays Gilded
OTK.
Gargoyle for a
Oh,
coin.
right.
And he plays, you know this combo? He
No,
plays
I don't, but I'm kind of realizing what it is, though.
The spirit is 1 mana, and it says, for any minions that die,
Yeah.
get shuffled into your deck and cost 1. So he plays Spirit, Velen, Coin, Death,
Yeah. Right.
and then
Oh
plays,
my gosh.
and then plays Velen, Vivid Nightmare.
It's so
and-
awesome. Priest is really cool. Like it's not necessarily good again, but there are a lot of crazy things you can do with Priest right now, which is
Very flexible class,
exciting.
right? It's got all the
Yeah.
different tools.
Yeah, and it still has Lyra. As long as Lyra's around, and now we have Grave Horror. There's a benefit to casting spells too, so that helps with just how spell heavy Priest is as well. But yeah, it's definitely a lot a lot of fun. Definitely try this one out too, guys, and see if you can master this deck because
It
it'd be
seems really tough to
impressed.
play.
Yeah, yeah, and the Wild Pyros. I don't think I ever use the Wild Pyros right, like because I generally always tempo them out, and just like no, that's like one of your only removal plays in this deck. So I think
Or your draw mechanic, right? With Circle and with Northshire Cleric, right?
Yeah, I don't really draw that many cards with Northshire Cleric, just because there's so many other draw mechanics.
Yeah, gadgets
later.
on. Yeah, that's a good point.
But again, this is coming from somebody that lost his first 8 games playing this deck. So right now I'm about like at 40%, so I'm making my way back up there.
Nice.
So I think we wanted to talk about Topsy Turvy Priest. Did we want to bring
Oh,
that
yes,
up?
please. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay. All right. Let me-
Topsy
let
Turvy
me-
Priest was one of my favorite decks in the last semester
Where did
as
I put it?
well.
I didn't even
The
put it in
few
here yet.
times I got to cast a game where someone was playing it made me so happy. Like I said to you guys before we went live today, when I first learned Topsy Turvy Priest, I lost 16 games in a row before I won one. But it's the most fun I've ever had learning a deck in Hearthstone. I think it's so intricate. I think it feels so good to pull off the combo.
Mhm.
I really, really love Topsy Turvy Priest. I think it's maybe the closest thing we've had to Grim Patron in a long time.
Really?
People
Okay.
are allegedly, they're saying that it's the best deck. Like if piloted
legend in
properly,
Legend.
it could just be the best deck in the meta, which is honestly okay with me. Like if it's such a high skill cap deck, if the best deck in the meta is that one, I mean I think that's a good sign.
It's gonna cause the same issues Grim Patron caused, right? Because that was the same. It was the hardest deck to play. It was strictly the best deck. It was favored against everything. People complained about it because they lost to it all the time. But yeah, I mean, I agree. If it's hard, that's great. And this deck is very, very hard. Even when you get the combo down, there are so many variables that can go wrong. If your opponent has a secret up, which way do you sequence things to play around?
Oh gosh,
yeah, I know. Oh my god,
I had a funny situation where I had one extra minion on the board than I needed when I did the combo, and I actually didn't have enough space on the board to play enough Vivid Nightmares to make enough balls to kill my opponent. So I hit him in the face for 16 twice, but because he had 5 armor, he survived, and then he cleared my board and I lost anyway. Like there's so many things that can go wrong with this deck.
Didn't this deck used to be called Math Priest? Like why do we always have to call it after a? This is like a discussion I had at Hearthstone and H's Replay, but it's like why do we have to call it after a card? Because like I remember we called it Math because it was just so hard to add up exactly what the.
It was APM.
Oh,
it was called APM Priest.
Okay, APM Priest. That is actually something we call it too, as well. Yeah, APM Priest. That's true.
I don't like Topsy Turvy Priest because there are other decks that have the win condition with Topsy Turvy.
True.
Yeah.
Generally, my philosophy when naming decks, and again, I think about this kind of thing a lot because of the casting, is that I want to call a deck a name that's going to confuse as few people as possible. So I hate names like Good Shaman. And there was one really recent. Disco Lock. I hate that as well because
what do you have? Disco Lock.
Discard Warlock, Disco Lock, because the discard mechanic came out during Karazhan. But it's like if anyone hasn't been playing, I don't know what we're talking about. So I don't like confusing names.
That's probably true. Yeah, I mean, I think people just think disco is short for discard. You know,
it's not.
Yeah, that's
it's not though. Yeah, it's
but like APM.
But it sounds fun to say.
Yeah,
it does, I guess. But if you say APM Priest, everyone knows what you're talking about. If you say Tempo Shadow Shaman, everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, naming decks is definitely a challenge right now, and it's the challenge that H's Replay has definitely had with archetypes and things like that. I don't know why Vivid Nightmares like kind of light here because I actually have this card, but yeah, anyway, this is with Mass Hysteria. I think Mass Hysteria might be the only new card here. But what do you guys think of Mass Hysteria?
I mean, sort of.
Yeah,
it's not a new card, but it wasn't played before the expansion.
Allie, I know you haven't gotten a chance to play Mass Hysteria, but
yeah, I don't have much experience with it. I haven't had it played against me, and I haven't really seen it in action. But based on what everybody else has said, it's a really, really good card. And I mean, I feel like a lot of the time when you're playing these slower priest decks, combo or control, I mean, you're basically just trying to make it Psychic Scream, right? And that's when you really feel comfortable. As the priest. But now that it's got this 5 mana option, it seems like it's just it's fantastic for these types of decks.
Yeah, and it's Mass Hysteria is really interesting because it's not like Psychic Scream where you just play it and just it happens and then everything is like kind of how you expect it. Mass Hysteria has like its little nuances to it that you can actually manipulate a bit. It's not quite like Brawl either. Like you can soften some minions so that things happen. And I mean, Dan, you can probably speak to that a little bit.
Well, I just think it's much harder to play than most removal cards. It's very, very powerful. Don't get me wrong. Like clearly, you run 2 of this, and every priest deck you can possibly justify running 2 of it. Now until it rotates out. Right. But like you can play it in such a way where your opponent ends up with the most powerful minion surviving. Like that is possible. If there's an odd number of minions on the board, then something isn't gonna attack or something isn't gonna die, and then that can go wrong. So watching streamers play is really fascinating because they talk you through the maths as they do it. Right. And they say, right, if this attacks this first, then it won't clear the board. So I need it to be, I need that to attack that one first and then that one to attack that one first, because they don't attack if they get killed by one of the other attacks. So,
so it's generally good to have like minions, like to run Mass Hysteria when there's minions with more health than attack, and so you maximize the number of attacks that all the minions are going to be performing. Because when you do Mass Hysteria, it's because you're behind, right? So you're clearly wanting this board to be cleared.
Generally you don't want to have any minions on the board, but like sometimes, specifically in this deck, you'll have a loot hoarder or a dead ringer on the board,
Yeah.
and you have to sort of work out first, is it correct for me to trade these in before I cast it, or do I just cast it?
Yeah.
Which minions do I trade it into? Do I trade these minions into for my best shot at clearing everything?
Right.
Really hard.
No, it's good, and that that has there's a little bit of a skill cap to that, right? Or and that's definitely good for having that in removal
It's like
cards.
It's like Defile. Defile is one of my favorite cards ever printed.
Yeah,
because it's so
absolutely.
complicated,
Oh, for sure.
And I think this is similar.
Yeah, every
Need
time-
more cards like Defile in the game, honestly.
for sure. Okay, let's talk about Dragon Control Priest. That's a fun one. Dragon Priest, man, it's always one of mine, and I think Allie, yours too, right? One of our favorites, at least maybe in the past.
Yeah, in the past, so I surprisingly haven't been playing it much, but with some of the new Dragon cards, I definitely want to give it a go soon here.
Okay, here it is. Oh, gosh, I'm having trouble dragging stuff. Okay, here we go. All right, so we've got, basically the dragon package that's kind of the old dragon package, or at least old dragons that still exist in the game. So Dustbreaker, of course, is still Studley, and Scale Worm and Drake, Twilight Drake, Primordial
Fire
Drake.
Tree Witch Doctor as well. That's
Fire Tree Witch Doctor. Yeah, that's
Discover a Mind Blast. Seems
exactly. Yeah, not bad. So a lot of the dragons, the Scorcher's also in here, that 3/6 that does 1 damage on Battlecry, and Alliestraza, of course. So not like that different, but definitely, a number of new cards. So you guys
Did the Crowd Roaster, is that what it's called? The 7 mana,
That's
did
in
that
some of
make
them, too.
it in this list or no?
There's some versions that have it as well.
Yeah, I've seen lists with it.
What do you guys think of that card?
I think it's pretty good. It's a lot of damage. I mean, it almost kills everything, right? So,
Right? And if they can't answer a 7/4, it's 7 attack. It's coming
Yeah.
at
It's
you.
really similar to Rend Blackhand. I think that's the card. Only better because you'd
Kill
rather
a
do
dragon,
7
right?
damage to a minion than
Mhm.
kill a legendary. Or was it kill a legendary or kill a dragon? I think it was kill a legendary.
kill a legendary. Yeah, I think that's right.
But I don't know. I haven't made up my mind about this card yet. I genuinely don't know if Crowd Rush is good or not.
I think it works pretty well in Odd Dragon Warrior. Like, I actually think Odd Dragon Warrior is pretty solid, and it's a nice
Really?
addition because you can't run executes, right? So
Right.
in Odd Warrior, so it's kind of just like another single target removal. And when I've been playing the deck, it's felt good. So
Yeah, our Dragon Warrior just generally looks very interesting. I'm
would-
trying to work out what's been cut from this deck that used to be in it. So I'm actually having a real hard time with it, just staring at this list.
Let me see. Actually, I'm probably
Oh,
sure. If I can...
Divine Hymn is one card that's usually,
okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Divine Hymn.
but there's extra scale.
There's something
Worm.
later. I feel like that's missing.
Holy Fires.
I
was
mean,
some
you could have
time.
another Shadow Priest, right? Maybe some of the tech cards. Like, there's no silence in this, and there's.
Skulking Geist, is there Geist in that one?
Yeah, possibly.
Oh yeah, Geist was sometimes well in it. That's
Mhm.
right. And Master
Yeah.
Spell occasionally. The card Silence.
Yeah. For the most
I
part,
feel like
it's-
I'm missing something really obvious.
It performs really
Good
well.
shot.
This deck does really well. Like, I think that was it Board Control or maybe it was Jackie or something. I was watching somebody's stream that was like crushing with this deck that day. So that was a few days ago. So maybe it doesn't anymore. But it's nice and solid. It's like a very curve based deck. Or tempo curve and not too crazy to play. It's got a nice end game with the Alliestraza and just the Mind Blast to finish too. So. Not too hard of a deck to play, but speaking of a interesting deck, let's talk about Kingsbane Rogue. And so, are you guys in the camp that like Kingsbane Rogue because you play Kingsbane Rogue, or do you hate it because you play against it all the time?
I played Kingsbane Rogue for the first time. I didn't even play the old Kingsbane Rogue, so this is the first time I've ever played it.
Oh, really?
Yesterday,
Wow,
yeah. I
okay.
didn't even try because I hated it
Yeah.
so much. So I didn't
I
even
did
want to
too. I
contribute
did
to the problem. So I'm just like, I abstain.
That's awesome.
But I did try it yesterday, and I gotta say, playing it feels pretty darn good. Like it feels so strong. But you feel like
strong.
scum.
It's ridiculous strong.
So I don't know how I feel, honestly. I'm somewhere in the middle of I like playing it now, but it feels so bad to play against.
She's crossed into the dark side.
I actually don't have any strong feelings about the deck at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's been weak for a long time. Maybe give it a week and I'll get sick of it. But I don't know. It just hasn't bothered me yet. The only thing that does bother me about this being the big standout rogue deck is that I was really excited about Spirit of the Shark. I was really excited about Growl the Shark, and I was really excited about Girabashi Hype Mon. And none of those cards have really seen any play.
Right.
I've seen some of them experimented with in Miracle Rogue and Tempo Rogue.
Hype Mon's pretty strong, dude. But
Hype Mon looks like it should be nuts. Like you play
mean,
Spirit of the Shark.
it is strong. Yeah.
But
I mean, some people were playing the Pirate Rogue, right? It was probably better last week than it is this week, but yeah, this is definitely the Rogue deck of choice right now, and it's frightfully so. It's ridiculously strong, and Kingsbane for me, it's like it feels like one of those infinite decks. You know, it's an infinite deck, right? And it's like I can't counter it. I can't do anything against it. So
thanks to Raiding Party, it's so much more consistent now.
God, the Raiding Party's insane. Like on the coin, just coining it out, getting the Kingsbane and 2 Pirates is just it feels ridiculously strong.
Right, because your only chance before was to get a late Kingsbane up, or not get the lifesteal on the Kingsbane for a long time, and yeah, when you get cards that draw 3 for you, and including the weapon, it's so much harder to get it done. And but yeah, it's
it can still be run over though, right? Like if you don't get your leeching poison, and it's definitely really strong and good, but I think it can be put in its place by aggro.
That's sort of my only issue with this deck isn't Kingsbane itself, it's leeching poison. Because, like you said, it's if you don't draw leeching poison, you sometimes just lose.
Right.
And so the sort of whole deck comes down to that sometimes. That's the only I have.
I think the issue I have with this deck is it's very polarizing, right? Like it's terrible against very aggressive decks, but it's super good against control decks, right? And we kind of have that element to this. And Kingsbane, I wish Kingsbane is such a great card, but I just wish there wasn't the ability to build a deck completely around it. Like there's something really bad feeling about that, and I think that's kind of where we are. It's powerful though. I mean, I'm not gonna, a lot of people love this deck, so it's like I'm just giving more of a subjective feel to it.
A decent amount of decks though that kind of fit that standard, like we were saying with the OTK Uther Paladin. I mean, like the whole deck's essentially built around Uther, but
that's beatable.
Maybe not as much as this though. That's fair.
I feel like that. I mean, maybe not so much with all this healing and stuff. It might starting to feel a little bit like Freeze Mage, but you know what? Like Freeze Mage, even in the back in the old days, I never had that much problem with Freeze Mage. Like I felt like there were ways to beat it. Yeah, there were ways to beat it. And that's kind of how I feel about the OTK Paladin deck. It's like there are ways to beat that deck. But this deck, oh man, the only way you beat it is to play something super fast, and that's it. Like that,
right.
It's really, really tough. So you can create that polarization, which is definitely something we haven't loved in the recent history. Okay. Undertaker Druid. Have you guys played that?
What? I mean, I've been playing a taunt druid with Undertaker. Is that what we're referring to?
Oh,
yes.
Oh, yeah. So there's two different. There's like one that's more beast centric, and then there's one that's the taunt one. This is the taunt one. Yeah.
So this is what Dog hit rank 1 legend with, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I was talking to Hunter Race about this today or yesterday on his stream. He thinks that's good. He thinks regular taunt druid's just better. And I think that's something that most people I've spoken to have agreed upon, just that like the witching hour is cheaper, it's just more efficient. You have to save your spell stones and naturalizers for Undertaker.
True.
So
but
cool deck though, it's a cool idea.
But you get to play Spreading Plague though.
I'm curious. That is big.
Like I was wondering the same thing myself. Like, is the old taunt druid just simply better? But I would say in a odd paladin, maybe dominant meta, like this has got to be better, right? Just because of the Spreading Plague.
The downside to spreading plague is that obviously when you play your Hadronox, you could just get a board full of 1/5s, which did happen.
Sure.
It's not terrible though with like branching paths, and a lot of times you have the you have the Lich King spell too.
You've even got
right?
Savage Roar in this deck, so if that does happen,
Oh yeah, I just noticed that. I didn't realize Savage was in this deck. Wow.
Most of the time, you don't bring back all 1/5s, right? So it's if you do have a few in the pool, it with the branching pass and the Savage Roar, like it still feels pretty strong. But I can see why people think the other one is stronger.
The other problem I think is this is quite weak to silence, because you play Astral Tiger, and then what do? Do you naturalize your own Astral Tiger? That feels horrible. But then if you don't, and it gets silenced, then the Undertaker's not going to be doing what it's meant to do and shuffle itself back in.
Yeah.
You have to like naturalize Hadronox as soon as you play that. You have to naturalize the Undertaker as soon as you play that. You know, it's a little bit.
It's awkward. A little clunky. It's definitely a tiny bit clunky, but
that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
What do you think about Mashog Enforcer versus? I mean, the alternative is
it's great with Oakheart.
Yeah.
So it's in there instead of
what it's for,
Hatcher,
right? Yeah. What'd you say? No, sorry.
It's in there instead of Dragon Hatcher.
Yeah, exactly.
The trade-off. It's fine. I wouldn't call it particularly powerful. You don't like jamming it on turn 8, really, because if your opponent already has a board, they just value trade it more often than not. Like, it's not much better than Witchwood Grizzly stat-wise. In fact, it's not better than Witchwood Grizzly stat-wise.
Yeah, it's a card. It's like it works in the deck, but it's I don't know. It's not that exciting, I suppose.
I mean, it's got Divine Shield too, so it takes an extra kind of hit. Except for if you're Priest. Priest just steals it or kills it.
Divine Shield is great when you've got a minion with a lot of attack, but when you've got an 8-mana minion with only 2 attack, Divine Shield doesn't do all that much.
Yeah, that's true.
Gosh,
but were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I'm really trying to decide, like, in a tournament here, like which version is better, because in the other one it's also countered by polymorphs and hexes, right? So the beast counter cards or hexes, whatever, is something to consider. So I really don't know which one is overall the best strategy, at least in the tournament setting.
But then as soon as your Astral Tiger gets hexed, or your gets hexed, then you lose everything anyway. I mean, let's face it, any deck that runs a hex or a polymorph is going to be usually favored against any Taunt Druid anyway. Right? It's just naturally a strong counter. Yeah,
but like hexing the tiger doesn't feel that good, though. Like it might counter the overall strategy of the infinite, but I don't know, not infinite, but then you're not hexing the Lich King or whatever else is coming down, right? So
that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, all you need is you don't really need like 3 or 4 or 5 Hydronoxes, right? Like
you don't.
I mean, even like 2 for the most part wins games. So I think that's where a lot some of the thinking comes from, and like Undertaker just basically being another Hydronox. It literally is another Hydronox, right? Like it could be Hydronox, to be honest. It doesn't even have to be like, it could be like an epic Hydronox, basically. So
what is crazy about...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what is crazy about this deck is that if you play Astral Tiger, it dies, and you play it again and it dies again. When you play the Undertaker, you get 2 copies of the Undertaker shuffled into your deck, because it's a copy of, not the card itself.
You can get 3, like if you've played 3 Astral Tigers and then your Hydronox, you could roll 3 Astral Tigers on your Undertaker, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I think I've done that once, maybe.
Which would suck. Yeah. You'd still get to play it.
But then
you'd probably dead by then.
Well, you wouldn't naturalize your Undertaker in that scenario, right? Like, so.
Chat, so you can spellstone your own tiger. It doesn't feel great. This is tough, because I really don't know which one would be better in the tournament setting.
I just think it's slightly less consistent, and if you want to do spreading plague Malfurion things, you're probably better off just playing Togwaggle Druid or Malagus Druid. Those decks are still very strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see things cycle back to that very, very soon. But
Hamster Ace was, I think, top 10 with Mali Druid today on EU, I think.
Smiley Druid have any new cards?
He was playing the 3-mana legendary.
Oh,
Druid.
Lottie.
Oh, really? For
But that's
what?
the
For
only
the
new
spell?
card he was playing.
For spell damage or something? Like for what?
I think
like
Poisonous was the
Oh, okay.
most common pick, but I wasn't watching him play it for too long.
That's cool. Okay, that's cool. Well, anyways, this is the Tundra, the Undertaker. Play it, guys. It's like super fun. Like if at the very least, it's super fun.
Yeah,
And if you want to just own Odd Paladin, like this is a good deck that
Yeah.
does
I really
pretty
want
well
this to
against Odd Paladin, man.
I really want this one to be better. Don't get me wrong. Like I'd love it.
Right,
if it
right.
Change a little bit.
I mean, we've seen we've definitely seen Tundra plenty, like in events. So yeah.
For
Somebody will
me,
play.
there's just nothing like there's just nothing worse than drawing your 9-drop dragons like in the start of the game. Like you just draw your deck upside down. So maybe this one feels a little bit better in that respect. I mean, it would still suck to draw your 2 14s, but maybe it feels a little bit better.
Yeah, sleepy dragons and things like that definitely feel a little
Right.
worse. Yeah. And you can't even get them out with like Okar, right? So, okay. Well, anyways, do we have any more decks here? I think we kind of went through them all here. Secret Hunter, maybe. There's not much to say about Secret Hunter outside
Spell
of
Hunter.
Yeah,
Zul'jin.
Secret Hunters.
Zul'jin.
We haven't shown anything with Undasta.
Yeah, I mean, is there a good deck that you can think of with Undasta? I mean, I've definitely played Druid decks with Undasta.
There's Asmodee's Beast Druid.
Yeah, that one's
with the Tyrantus and Charged Devil.
Right. I played a lot of that deck actually.
I think people are just running Undasta in Death Rattle Hunter too, right? I mean, just to
it just makes sense of that, right? Like,
I can bring that up. I can bring up Death Rattle Hunter here.
Which I still. Oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say I still think Death Rattle Hunter is potentially like the best deck in the game still, right?
Yeah.
You guys agree? Cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's top. It's in the candidate for it.
The only other deck I'd like to give a brief shout out to is Aggro Shaman. Shadowwalk Shaman is still probably the best Shadowwalk deck, and no, I'm not talking about the silly gain 8 armor every time the thing goes off.
What do you mean? That's an auto win, Dan. That's an auto win.
But aggro Shadowwalk Shaman with Spirit of the Frog is very, very nice. You get your Rock Biter weapons, your Lava Burst, and your Doom Hammers, and you just smack him in the face a bunch.
Yeah, definitely bring that up in a second here. But yeah, here's the Undasta, and Undasta, like he never gets more than one guy out for me. Does he ever go twice for any of you guys? I know it doesn't matter, but but I'm just stating a fact, or at least for me. Never get more than one. it's always
usually people kill it pretty quick.
I mean, one is amazing, but
it's got an OP effect and it's got Hyper Taunt. Like, what else do you want?
I want more, man. I want like to get 3 guys out. No, but this deck is still disgustingly good. So.
The great thing about Undasta is even if you've played King Crush already, Devilsaur, etc., you just play Rexar, make the biggest zombies you can, and then play Undasta and summon it.
So here's a question for you: without Rexar, how does this deck still rank? Like, does it still stay in tier 2?
Without Rexar?
Yeah, without Rexar. Like, how does this deck? Because that's what we're gonna be. It's gonna be life without Rexar.
Oh, right. You mean like next rotation?
Yeah. Right. Because I feel like they've given Hunter so many powerful things that it might be actually okay, even without Rexar. Who knows? Like, with maybe an additional thing in the next expansion. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Rexar still too important to this deck for it to survive?
Yes.
I think the deck could survive. It just won't be like a candidate for the best deck in the game.
Well,
you know what I mean?
question.
So it's just like, and then at that point is something like Spell Hunter or Secret Hunter that can run Zul'jin just better potentially. I mean, Egg and Plate Eds and all that shenanigans is still insane. I'm really not sure. Like Rexar's just the backbone of it, I'm
What's
not
the
sure.
go-to? If everything goes bad and you get Rexar, you still got a chance. That's
exactly.
But like, Subject 9 Hunter still does run Rexar, but like,
it's like a fail-safe. You know what I mean? Like it still does well, straight up.
And Zul'jin is an extra win condition.
Yeah.
Even Spell Hunter, like, possibly survive. Well, actually, it loses. Spell Hunter loses a bunch of things like to my side when this rotation happens.
Then that's gonna.
Does it lose Rock Delight too?
Yes.
Oh
yes, it
god.
does.
Well, there you go. I mean,
So-
losing rock.
Oh,
Tomb is
it
huge.
also it also loses cube. Though this deck is going to lose cube and
Yeah.
maybe
Kelsa?
Katrina. So
Kelsa?
yeah, actually,
Yeah, this is gonna be
rotation's just going to be a completely different game, right?
Yeah. But
yeah.
Hunter still might end up okay. Who knows? We'll see. You know,
Rotation's
after-
actually going to be insane because
dude,
this
it's gonna be
year-
awesome. It's gonna be
This year the
amazing.
power level has been a little bit lower, Jen,
Yeah.
than
Mhm,
the last few years of
definitely.
Hearthstone, which has meant that the expansions this year, like Boomsday, for example, have felt a little bit on the weak side.
Yeah.
But when we lose everything from last year, all of those weak cards we've had this year are suddenly going to be just the standard, the normal, and that's going to be an insane change. I cannot wait for April.
I
or
am
whenever it's
excited
happening.
for that, man. I definitely can't wait for that. Let me find this aggro shaman that you were talking about. I think it's this one. Or some version of this one.
There's-
We
yeah, there's a lot
we
of
talked about it a
versions
little bit
of
last
that.
week, but here's one that's it's called Overload Aggro Shaman.
Ah, so that's the Thunderhead version, yeah.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, I definitely played this one. This one's a little different. It has some similar elements, but definitely there's like unbounds in here and thunderheads but definitely
That's the
con.
kind of deal, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've learned from playing these decks is that Doomhammer's damn good. Like right now, it's like super good. If you you can get tempo for like a turn and smack him in the face for 10. It's even just not even 10. Even just getting to swing 8 times with that hammer is really, really good right now.
Lickham also is a nice little reminder of why Fiery War Axe was not okay. Like Lickham is a strong card, and it's Fiery War Axe with a drawback.
Yeah. You played any
The other
Shaman,
day,
Molly?
I was just gonna say the other day I got Doomhammer double Rockbiter weapons, and it just
Yeah.
and I made a play
Crazy.
specifically to be out of Doomhammer Rockbiter range. I'm like,
Right.
okay, well this saves me, and then he had double Rockbiter, and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
bringing back the aggro shaman PTSD. I can't say I miss it too much.
Man. Yeah. Shaman's kind of interesting because I the first class that I tried to just figure stuff out with was Shaman, and I feel like Shaman has this kind of junkyard feel to it. Like there's different things that kind of work in Shaman right now, and you can kind of mix and match it. Like this whole tempo, or not, sorry, not token kind of Shaman, right, with knife jugglers and all these like small minions that you can actually do really well with in the first 4 turns with Shaman, like does pretty well. But then there's nothing at the end game that kind of matches that well, and keep sustaining it. So like you can kind of put that into an early game and then figure out like a late game, like of this kind of aggro thing maybe or this Doomhammer type of end game. And there's other mixing and matching of different styles in Shaman right now in some of these decks. It's kind of interesting.
I still want Stormbringer to be good, but some of the legendaries are just so bad that it just
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Zentimo, wait, Stormbringer is...
Stormbringer is 7 mana, transform all of your minions into legendary.
Oh, right.
Like
Yeah,
as
yeah,
soon
yeah.
as you get is it Duskfallen Aviana, you just lose the game. Like that's the problem.
Oh,
And
God.
that has happened to me.
Seriously?
Like,
Oh, my God.
smack in the
That's
face
crazy.
with a 0 mana ultimate infestation next turn. It's like, cool.
That's hilarious.
That was good.
All right, but yeah, so
Shaman's pretty fun though. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool things that are going on. I mean, Kragwa with unstable evolution is really cool. And I think Zentimo will be very good in the future as well. Maybe Shudderwalk's still really strong, right? So
So is
I-
even Shaman, actually.
and even Shaman's still strong. So the class is in a fine spot, honestly.
And most even decks are running Mojo Master Zehi at the moment. Like, I've seen
Mojo's fun, dude. Mojo
even
Master.
Warlock is playing that card. I
Mhm.
think even Shaman is, and yeah, that's great to shut down some of those combo decks and Druid specifically.
Yeah, Mojo Master, by the way, those folks are wondering, it sets your mana crystal to 5. And so it's, you can definitely leverage that, like, in depending on what kind of deck you're playing. So I've seen like Priest do it too, some of those try and surrender and stuff like that. Like it's been kind of fun to see that, because I think that card is really good. I think that card will be an important card somewhere down the line, where like a tech card, like a
Again, it's much stronger than I think we gave it credit for. It's much more similar to Lotheb than I realized before.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you play it, and then your opponent only has 5 mana to deal with it,
Yeah,
and
for
whatever
sure.
else you have on the board.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that wraps up the decks. Probably going to go on to Q&A here just to kind of wrap things up. Before we do, we also today are sponsored by Simple Contacts, so I want to mention that. And those of you wondering what Simple Contacts is, they're a service that makes your life easier in terms of ordering contacts. They have contacts on their site, at simplecontacts.com, where you can buy some. And right now, if you actually go there and use our promo code, simplecontacts.com/valuetown, you can actually get $20 off of the next contact purchase you have there. But on top of that, guys, one of the really annoying things about contacts is like you have to have your prescription, right? Every time you have to go and order contacts. And people always have to go to the doctor to get them, even if you have the same exact prescription. What's cool about Simple Contacts is they have this self-test that you can do with their mobile app that's been designed and approved by an ophthalmologist that they have in-house. And, if your vision is exactly the same, then these ophthalmologists will just prescribe you, the exact same prescription. It doesn't replace going to your normal periodic full eye exam, so I don't want people to actually think that. Make sure you still go to these things and get your eyes checked all the time, to make sure you don't need new prescriptions. But if you do have the same prescriptions, you can just go to the website and then, you can just get this done in 5 minutes. Like literally this mobile app that you use, you can do it in like 5 minutes. So super convenient. And again, simplecontacts.com/valuetown to get $20 off the contacts. So check that out. And again, let them know that they're awesome for sponsoring us. All right, Q&A, here we go. We've got Ahmad N. What should the next HCT format be? What should this new HCT format be after Conquest? Does the Strike format have a chance, or Last Hero Standing coming back? So maybe Dan knows something. He can't say anything. So maybe me and Allie will have an internal discussion here.
I just stay out of conversations.
Exactly. So maybe me and Allie will talk about this.
So you do know. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not even.
LHS has always been my favorite format, honestly.
Like
so I'd like to see more LHS tournaments. Strike format, what is it? It's
just the Strike format. You kind of pick decks, like, or you would pick like the classes or whatever, and then like each class has, you have like matchups, right? Like if they were all to play each other, like the different combinations.
It's the matchup one where you ban matchups.
So you would ban a matchup, and you get all the combinations of the matchups, and then they're laid out, and then you ban.
It takes a long time to start a match with Strike.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. You could program something to do that. So
I think in principle that's pretty cool, because it just never, like, if the matchup's so polarized, even though we hope that there won't be super polarized matchups moving forward in Hearthstone, but if that is the case, like you just feel like you don't really get to play, if you're just like, well, this deck completely counters mine. So I would like the idea of the Strike format, but yes, if the process of doing that it's quite extensive. Like, I don't know how big LAN events like DreamHacks DreamHacks are already so long that if it was something like the Strike format, I'm not really. Well, I guess DreamHacks are always LHS.
You always get mirrors with Strike as well. That's another problem with that format, because nobody ever bans mirrors. So you end up with an amount of mirror matches.
that could be tough too.
And that can come down to like who got their Death Knight and 50-50s and things like that, which isn't that great either. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Blizzard decides to do. It'll be interesting.
My theory on the format, and it's been, some people have talked about it on Twitter, just kind of, trying to speculate, is that I don't think that it's going to be a format that they haven't tried in some capacity. So they haven't tried Strike. So I don't think they would do Strike because of that.
Right.
LHS obviously is a candidate. But I think the whole sideboard thing is a candidate too, that they've been doing with Tespa. And just because it's something that they've done. So I think that's potentially a candidate for format. LHS, I normally would love it, LHS. I just would not like it in the current like polarized type of meta. So that would be boring.
I would say that in terms of the having to test a format first, like they have a lot of people working at Blizzard that can test stuff. So Dan, I'm hoping that they come with something brand new, because I don't want them to come up with that. I would not like to see HCT in those type of formats. So
I hope they come up with something brand new that's like really exciting. And but Strike, you could make it fast. Like just have somebody develop a tool that does it. That's easy. Hearthstone, or something like that. Like they can build it really fast for you. Let's see. Okay. Raiden has a question here. After the next set rotation, hero cards from Lich King will rotate out, but it will still leave 4 hero cards in the game if you include the one that will be, released during that expansion. Do you think classes with cards with these hero cards will be favored?
Well, that's a really good question, Raiden. So will warrior and hunter, shaman be favored over other classes? It's possible. I think it's too hard to say because I mean, Haggath is strong and Dr. Boom is strong, but I mean, if they print other cards that have really powerful strategies, I mean, it could be balanced. I'm not sure, actually. It's a good question.
I think Haggath is strong. I think cards that have
Haggath
this
is
like
crazy.
I find it hard to believe that there will be a situation where only some classes have hero cards. Like, this is real tinfoil hat stuff.
Well,
I would half expect, like, in the next expansion, every class that doesn't currently have a hero card.
You think so? Wow.
Maybe. I just feel it would be odd otherwise. But I also know that the part of their design philosophy now is that they don't want to be designing hero cards that have absurd win conditions like all the Rex are. Like, they're very clear in their philosophy. Like, ever since like Hagatha, Dr. Boom, and Zul'jin, they've got powerful effects in their own unique ways, but none of them are like gonna eventually win you the game one way or another, guaranteed. Dr. Boom hero power is better than the default warrior one for sure, but you're not going to win the game just because you drew him and your opponent didn't.
Right. The Dr. Boom one seems fine. Yeah, the Dr. Boom one has felt fine. Hagatha, to be honest, too, it's not infinite, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just a value generation, right? So it's a board clear. But Zul'jin's one that I might be a little bit hesitant to say that holds true, because if you're playing Spell Hunter Mirror or something, they get their Zul'jin and you don't, like, it can be pretty gross. But Spell Hunter will lose a lot of cards, right? Like Spell Stones, I think, will be gone, and you said like to my side, so it might not be that big of a deal because maybe they won't support Spell Hunter as much, and Zul'jin will just kind of
the counter argument to Zul'jin as well is if your opponent can deal with the board. Like, sometimes all it takes is a flame strike, and after a flame, like, then the hero power is just deals you damage, and that's not going to outright win them the game either. The reason the hunter still wins the game in that position is because they then play Rexar and then win the game with the Rexar.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes the second person actually wins because of that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, for my experience with Zul'jin has been, it's purely a board filler. And all the other spells like backfire. I mean, they kill some of these things that are on the board that you end up, depending on the order of which all these spells are cast. So it's, definitely there's drawbacks to it. It's generally good, but it's not crazy good. And
I think Zul'jin decks still needs some work as well. Like, people playing, I don't really know if I agree with Baited Arrow and Flanking Strike in Zul'jin decks. Like, I think cards like Multi-Shot and obviously Secret
one direction type of thing. Yeah, they can only be shot against your enemy kind of thing.
And cards like To My Side are insane, and Crushing Walls is very, very good with Zul'jin. But things like Baited Arrow, like if you get Call My Side proc and then you get Huffer and then you can't attack with it because it then got Flanking Striked or something, it just feels a little bit bad.
Yeah. Right, but Baited Arrow is amazing otherwise.
I just think Baited Arrow is so good, right?
Yeah. So definitely interesting question. I think generally, I think they'll work towards everybody getting a hero, but I don't think it'll happen all at once. I'd be pretty surprised if they did that.
Like I said, I'm very much tinfoil hat here.
Yeah. So
conspiracies.
Maybe just slightly better for the time being, those classes. Just don't give Druid another one for the longest time.
Please.
Just get rid of that. All right, Slim Jim, last question. Do you think this set is even worse than Boomsday? I mean, the best decks don't use more than 2 to 3 new cards. Some tier 1 decks don't even use, they don't even use any cards. So, Boomsday, are we serious? Like, we really comparing it to Boomsday? I mean, there's no question it's better than Boomsday.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Boomsday, for sure.
I think that when the rotation happens, everyone's going to be surprised at just how good Boomsday actually is.
Oh yeah,
I think
but
there are
we're talking
a
about
lot
right
of
now. We're
people-
talking about right
yeah,
now.
Right,
though.
right
Yeah.
now, I agree. The meta is better now than it was the week after Boomsday came out. But I don't know. I think some of the Boomsday cards are very, very powerful.
Witchwood too. I think Witchwood cards are going to kick in
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So at this moment, there's more new cards in more decks than there were in Boomsday. Let's put it that way. It was like Giggling Inventor, and then Odd Warrior. That was it. Like literally, maybe Zilliax in a few decks. You know,
Celiax has been a nice addition to the meta decks. I will say that.
Yeah.
But no, I would say Rastakhan definitely better than Boomsday. I feel like the honeymoon period is much longer, as we discussed earlier, now than it was with Boomsday. But overall, I think just the whole year has been, as we also said earlier, lower power level, right? So I'm just excited for rotation next expansion.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this year we got Arcanosaur, which is a 6-mana Dustbreaker. Like that sort of single-handedly shows you the difference between this year and last year with Hearthstone.
Power creep. Back on, we used to have discussions of power creep.
That's true.
Like the reverse.
Yeah, the reverse. No, it's totally. And one thing to take into account too, Slim Jim, is that this is the last expansion of the year. So this is the expansion that has the hardest time making an impact because there's so many cards, already in the pool. So the fact that we're able to do anything, I think that the fact that Rastakhan could even make any kind of change is pretty big deal. I mean, that speaks a lot to the expansion itself.
Yeah.
The last set of the year does usually have the most powerful cards in as well, though. Like if we think back to Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, Darkus, and all of and Jade things. And all of that.
Just super broken things.
Last year,
Wait.
Kobolds and Catacombs had when you actually look through the Kobolds and Catacombs cards, so many of these see play. Almost every single
Q-Blog was like built from it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Pax, Librarian, Hooked Reaver, Spellstone, Skull, Lackey, Void Lord, and Rin are all Kobolds and Catacombs.
Wow.
Yeah, actually. It was created from that like expansion. So
right, yeah. Like has like Grumble, Duskbreaker, Level Up.
That was probably the most powerful set we've ever had.
Was Jade the last? Did that come out in the last set of the year? Because it felt like Jade was in the meta for way too long.
Yeah, because the last set gets included, right? Like into the next following year.
Right.
So that sticks around the longest. And so the Jade one got an extra.
No. It's the other way around.
Is it the other way around? I thought
the last set of the year is in there for the smallest amount of time.
Right.
I thought on the
and
first
that was
year.
Jade.
Oh, I thought the first year was different.
So like last year, the last set was Kobolds and Catacombs.
Yeah.
And that will rotate out alongside the first two sets, Ungaro and Knights of the First
Yeah. I was thinking the first year it was long. Okay, yeah, I just messed that up.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because when it started,
when it first started, like Gadgetzan got an extra boost to it. But Ungoro's been around forever. Ungoro literally has been around forever.
Didn't get an extra boost, but the third expansion did. League of Explorers, I think.
Was it League of Explorers? Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah.
Or
was it
Whispers of the Old Gods?
Yeah, Whispers was the first.
Yeah, Whispers was right. Yeah, you're right.
It's just the very first rotation was just Nax and GVG.
Right.
So the grand tournament.
Okay, so it was the same the first year too. So because Ungoro is basically the same as Whispers, which has been around forever.
That's right.
So, but definitely excited for that, and just whatever, Rastakhan, I think generally is something that we needed. I think this whole month has been a very interesting thing for Hearthstone, and a lot of people were spelling, oh, this is the doom for Hearthstone, like this whole November, December period. And, for sure, we haven't seen that happen. I think Hearthstone's been completely fine, in terms of like all these competitors and mixed with this like new expansion, coming from where we were like in a really bad time, like in October and before BlizzCon. I mean, it was really bleak times just with how the meta was and everything. So much better going into the new year. And I think, 2019 is going to be great for Hearthstone. So be really cool.
2019.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
2019, exactly.
Getting hyped.
Exactly. So I think that's going to be it, guys. So we want to wrap it up. You guys, thanks for for coming on the show. Dan, I thought it was last minute because we were trying to figure out if you were going to watch the movie or not. But I'm glad we made it work, and it's always great having you on.
Thank you.
Hey, want to do any shout-outs before we take off here?
Sure. Check out the tournament that's on this weekend. I mean, there's 2 tournaments on this weekend, obviously. HCT Philadelphia is one, but check out the Esports Superstars taking place in China. I'm just trying to find the URL.
Superstars.
It's got a real stacked lineup.
Cool.
But what's the stream though?
Here it is.
Okay.
The stream link is twitch.tv/ELC Gaming TV. But the lineup is Muzzy, Ant, Frozen, Just Saying, Reynad, Hoy, Fino, Sintalol, RDU, Pavel, Ostkaka, and Zixo. So
dang,
definitely
that's stacked.
Derek and I are casting on again ELC Gaming TV on Twitch. So,
awesome.
Check that out. We're just casting Finals Day, which is Sunday.
That's cool.
Very cool.
More of those events. More events that people. Obviously, we're going to have our HC events, but more events where there's just a bunch of people that folks want to see, battle each other, because we don't get a chance to see them play each other in this kind of competitive environment. So really, really awesome. Allie, awesome having you on. It was great to be back.
Thank you for having me. Guys, don't forget tomorrow the Rumble Run, the single player content will be out tomorrow morning, and I'll be at Blizzard. I believe the stream starts at 8:45 in the morning on the Play Hearthstone channel. So I'll be doing that with Dave Kosak and Chris Sierra. And
so is Chris going to actually be on stream as well?
I believe Chris is going to be on stream as well. Yes.
The community team usually avoids being on stream, like getting any kind of
I know, right?
So that would be cool.
Chris is a great personality.
Yeah, he's a total great personality. So that's going to be awesome.
For sure.
I've been wanting just the community team to get a little bit more, having them come on this show, for instance, they never do, they're never, I don't know if they're allowed to or what, but they're always trying to be in the background. And it's just dude, you got some great people on the community team. It'd be awesome to get a chance to have them be on the stream and stuff like that.
It's nice to put a face to the people that make the game, right? So, or help run everything. So look for that. Oh, shout out to Dean, XR, and Molly. Congratulations,
dude, our Hearthstone.
we brought up Blizzard employees, so I felt like I needed to say that too.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Something happened. What happened?
Molly and Dean got engaged.
Yeah,
they going. Oh, great.
Yeah.
No, I totally missed that. That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that,
I love both of them so much.
I know, right? So you're just everybody's couple goals.
It's I mean, then it's Hearthstone. I still consider it a Hearthstone couple. Given that Molly on Hearthstone too. Yeah, of course. So no, that's definitely really, really happy news for them. And I feel like a lot of people are getting married this year or engaged. A lot of
I've seen quite a bit of engagements. Yeah,
this is the time of season for everybody. It's really great. Happy times. But everybody else, thanks for watching, guys. One thing I didn't get a chance to mention is just our patrons. I always want to give a little shout out to all the guys that support the show. So quick shout out to our producer, our legendary producer, Mike T, as well as Ray Dan, Bryce L, Blake T, Eric L, Jackpot 777, Feldy Locks, Old Man Riv, June PA, Mario P, Kevin G, and Mike T. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/valuetown and throw a pledge our way. We really appreciate it. And you can find the VODs all on youtube.com/ChanmanV. And you can find all the audios on the regular places that you probably find it every week, which is iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and SoundCloud.com/ChanmanV. But until next week, guys, for Falcone, Alliestraza, and myself, ChanmanV, we'll see you next week.
Bye.